This is a brief review of the Pixel TF-334 Hotshoe adapter. This is designed to work with Sony cameras and let you use Nikon and Canon flashes on them. In brief, the TTL functionality on it doesn't work, so it's not really worth it. You might as well just go with a cheaper adapter if you need PC sync, or just use the flash straight in the camera Hotshoe if you don't. For these tests I just shot a blank wall, so if TTL is working it should appear a medium grey colour. So we'll start off looking at wireless flash. I use the Godox wireless flash system. So this is with the Godox transmitter for Sony in the Hotshoe and the AD200 just as a reference image. So this is how it should work with TTL with a proper Sony adapter. And then using the TF-334 adapter, but with a Canon foot Godox transmitter, you can see the image is a lot darker. It's basically just firing at minimum power and TTL is not working. And the same when we use a transmitter with a Nikon foot. This is a Pixel Pro transmitter, which is just a rebrand of the Godox transmitters basically. You can see it just fires at minimum power. Basically the TTL is not working. So now if we go back to the Sony transmitter and try firing the flash at manual power, so not TTL, we can see it looks like this. And if we now use the TF-334 with the Canon foot transmitter, we can see it, at manual power it's the same. And if we look at the Pixel Pro transmitter with the Nikon foot, we can see again at manual power it's still the same. So manual power works fine, but TTL does not. But if we put the Canon transmitter straight into the Sony Hotshoe and use manual power, we can see we get the same result. And the same thing with the Pixel Pro transmitter with the Nikon foot. So basically the TF-334 is not doing anything. You might as well just put your transmitter straight in your Sony Hotshoe. So if we look at a normal flash in the Hotshoe without wireless transmission, starting off with a flash with a Sony foot, this is the Pixel Pro 580, which is the same as the Godox 580 in TTL. And this is the Pixel Pro GI01, which is the same as the Godox V1, but with a Canon foot on it. You can see in TTL, similar to what we saw in wireless, it looks like it's just firing at minimum power. And if we move on to Nikon Flash, you can see rather than firing at minimum power, that fires at full power when it's in TTL mode with the TF-334. If we put the Canon Flash in manual mode, you can see that works fine with the TF-334. And the same with the Nikon SB800, it works in manual mode okay. But if we look at the Canon Flash straight into the Sony Hotshoe, you can see that also works fine. And the same with the Nikon Flash straight into the Sony Hotshoe. So again, the TF-334 isn't doing anything useful. You can just mount the flash straight into the Hotshoe. And then finally, if you use the PC sync with the flash in manual power, that does work. So that's the only useful thing with this adapter, is that it gives you a PC sync port. So if you look at the underside of the adapter, it does have the Sony multi-interface shoe pins, but I don't know what they're doing. I assume they're just there for show and there's actually no use to them. If you look at the top of the adapter, you can see the pin pads for the Nikon and Canon flash foots to connect into, sort of the extra pins that do TTL and that kind of thing. But again, they don't seem to actually be doing anything. So the only pin that actually seems to be doing anything is the center pin that triggers the flash, which will work with any flash. So it seems like this adapter is a waste of money. Yes, the PC sync port does work, but you could get a cheaper adapter with a PC sync port.